I just want to briefly touch upon the fact that after seeing One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, I couldn't help but sit there and think to myself, is Leo the most sought after actor and the greatest of all time? Now, on one hand, he is my favorite actor because he is in 2 of my favorite films out of a list of 10, and those 2 are Inception and The Departed. And yeah, I was on my drive home and I was thinking to myself, who hasn't Leo worked with? Because if we really take a step back and look at his resume, he's worked with almost all of the most iconic directors of all time. I think he's worked with all of them. So he's worked with my favorite director of all time, Christopher Nolan, in Inception. He also worked with Quentin Tarantino, not once, but twice. Once in Django Unchained as the villain, and then he worked with him again in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt, and I loved them both in that film. He also worked with Steven Spielberg in Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks. It's no secret he works a lot with Martin Scorsese, whether that be Killers of the Flower Moon, or Shutter Island, or Gangs of New York, which also starred Daniel Day-Lewis, who is, in my opinion, the greatest actor of my generation. Edgar, James Cameron in Titanic, Alejandro Inarritu in The Revenant, Adam McKay in Don't Look Up, Sam Raimi in The Quick and the Dead, Danny Boyle in The Beach, and Ridley Scott in Body of Lies. I'd love to grow my knowledge of other actors that have worked with this many iconic people, but I don't think anyone else outside of Leo has worked with the all-time greats like this. Outside of Daniel Day-Lewis, Leonardo DiCaprio is the most world-renowned actor in America because he's sought after by the most iconic directors of our generation. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but many, many directors want to work with him and want to keep working with him. And now you add Paul Thomas Anderson to the list, which is arguably in the top 3 of the greatest directors of all time. And that's obviously a very subjective thing to say based off of taste, because a lot of people don't really care for Paul Thomas Anderson films. But what I mean by him being one of the greatest or in the top 3 is every single time the guy makes a film, it gets nominated for an Oscar and usually wins whoever's starring in the film an Oscar for Best Performance. Further fueled my flames of saying that Leo is the greatest actor of all time, and further solidifies the fact that I just can't wait to see what he does next, because he's always working with somebody that wants to tell a really intriguing story, something original, nothing else. When Leo makes a movie, it's not really something you've seen before, at least that he's done. The Departed's character is very different than the Wolf of Wall Street's character, which is a lot different than the Revenant's character, which is a lot different than One Battle After Another's character, which is a lot better than the character from Inception. I'm afraid that we won't get them for much longer because not a lot of people are running out to see these films, and you absolutely should go out and see One Battle After Another because it's the best film probably of the last 5 to 6 years, in my honest opinion.